Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My dear students of Honors Pet 3, how are you doing? We were doing the poem Better My Heart. And my dear students, the purpose of reading any poem is to understand it fully, because you have to answer questions from the poem. And if you understand the poem fully, word for word, line by line, you will be able to answer the questions in the exam. And from the poem Better My Heart, written by the pioneer of the metaphysical movement, John Donne, you learn a few things. And in our today's class, I will first tell you the detailed meaning of the poem, and later I will also tell you the development of thought of this wonderful poem, and finally I will tell you the critical comments of the poem. And let me first tell you the elaborate or detailed meaning of the poem. And let us see the meaning from line number 1 to 4. The poet requests God to hammer his heart so as to give it a new shape. Till now, God has tried to reform the poet by gentle methods, like those used by a tinker. And my dear student, tinker in Bengali means the person who can bring change in order to give something a new shape. Till now, God has tried to reform the poet by gentle methods, like those used by a tinker, by knocking him gently, blowing his breath over him, and by reshaping him with persuasion. Now the poet asks God to use violent and harsh methods for his reshaping, like overthrowing and pulling him down, so that he may stand up, reformed and purified. May God use all his force to end all evil in him, to breathe new fire and energy into him, to burn his wickedness and reform him. And now I will tell you the elaborate meaning of line number 5 to 8. The poet likens himself to a town unlawfully occupied by Satan or devil, and tries his best to admit God into it. But on account of the wickedness of God's agent, reason in the poet, who himself is weak and imprisoned, the poet is unable to succeed. Reason, which should have saved the poet from sin or from the devil, is helpless. And now we'll see the detailed meaning from line number 9 to 14. Donne presents here a remarkable image of a lady who cherished reciprocation for her love from the lover, but has been compelled to have a relationship with an enemy of the lover. Donne wants to be God's beloved and prays to him to save him from the hold of evil and to free him from all wickedness and meanness. He asks God to use force and separate him from the devil to whom he is betrothed. Line number 12 and 13 gives contradictory statement and provides a touch of sensuality in that the poet wants himself to be embraced by God. Donne shall only be free when he, that is God, imprisons him. The poet thinks that he will not be purified till God takes physical possession of him, like a lover possessing his beloved. God, God's forcible taking of the poet will make the poet chaste. And now I will tell you the development of thought. The poet appeals to God to transform his inner being. As he is a great sinner, mild methods will not succeed with him. God, the tinker, need not use gentle methods like knock, breathe, shine, and seek to amend. He must use harsh and rough methods, just as the tinker, in order to reshape the poet, must break, blow, and burn the metal to give it a new shape. In the same way, God must overpower him and use violent methods to reshape and remold him. And in the development of thought, we see the concept of usurped town and usurped beloved. And you know, usurp means to take the possession of something unlawfully or wrongly by using force. Usurped town, the poet compares himself to an usurped town. His soul belongs to God but has been taken away by the devil. He himself is willing to pay his homage to God, but he cannot do so because he is under the power of the devil. Reason is God's representative, but even reason is unable to oppose the might of the devil. Therefore, God should use force and release him from the horrible clutches of evil forces. Thus alone he can be saved from damnation. Usurped beloved. The poet clarifies his position through the metaphor of lover-beloved relationship. The poet is the beloved while God is the lover. According to tradition, God is the man while human beings are all females. The poet's soul loves God and desires to be united with him. However, she has been forcibly betrothed to the devil. He is a slave of the devil and God alone can rescue him. God should separate or sever his connection with evil and redeem him from wickedness. God should accept him as a beloved and take him into his arms. Now he is a slave of the devil, but let God make a slave of him. The poet feels that he can never be purified till God consummates his union with him. Then alone he will be free from sin and evil. And let us now see the critical comments regarding this wonderful poem. This use of sensual relationship or holy transformation need not be objected to. Imprison me, enthrall me, ravish me, only show the intensity of the poet's feeling, who wishes to be totally owned and possessed by God. There is a great use of paradox in the poem. Donne's relation with God is expressed through several paradoxes. Donne can only rise if he is once thrown by God. He can be free only if he is imprisoned by God. And he can be chaste only if he is ravished by the Almighty. Another paradox is based on the maxim, preparedness for war is the best guarantee of peace. The poet can gain peace of mind only when God uses violence and snatches him away from the devil. The tinker must use harsh and violent methods to break the vessel and then reshape it. Similarly, God should burn the impurities in him through the fire of the bellows. The metaphor of the usurped town to be taken by the lawful owner is quite appropriate. Similarly, the usurped body who is in the possession of the devil should be rescued by God. Freedom and purity can come only through divine consummation. The idea of violence runs throughout the poem like an undercurrent or underflowing. The hammering of the tinker or the blacksmith, tinker in other word means blacksmith. Uh, in our country, the blacksmith makes sickle, make all the metal instrument like scissors, sickle, and other instrument. The the hammering of the tinker or the blacksmith is followed by the siege and capture of the besieged town. The marriage is followed by ravishment. There is a continuous comparison of secular love to divine love. Donne's artistry is evident in his expression of physical love, which is used to advantage in portraying holy love. The use of sensual imagery cannot be regarded as incongruous because, in the final analysis, it conveys the sincerity and confessional frankness of the poet as a true slave of God. And my dear Stephen, this is a wonderful poem. Though you may find some of the things, some of the sensual images a bit coarse or a bit rough, but the poet uses those very sincerely. And with these few words, let me conclude my lecture. Thank you very much.